light that I saw. You seem to be distressed on Shane's show.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Yeah, exactly. So we're on. We've just started, so we'll just give a couple minutes to let people pop in, right? Because as soon as we start up, then the alert goes out, and usually shortly, there we go. We have people starting to stop in and say hi. So I'm just going to pull up the chat here, and so I can see who's here today so far, and introduce you all to my really good friend now. I'm so grateful for my sister from another Mr. Angie Dollar. So I've talked about you a couple times. Yeah, so hello, Angie.
Hi.
And still trying to load up who's here today. But so what happened was, a great story. You saw me on Unbiased, not this week, but the week before, and you reached out to me. So do you want to start with that?
Yeah, I had you in the background going while I was doing something, and like I was before. Oh, I hear some echoing.
Yeah, I got it. I turned it off. It was me. It's okay. Yeah. You go ahead.
I'm not generally affected by the energies. When people are talking about retrograde or whatever is going on with the planets, like in August, it was crazy energy, and I feel nothing. So, but I saw you on his show, and you were just so distraught. Like, I think you even started crying, like saying it was so intense.
Twice.
I thought I got to reach out to her, like, I don't know why it just hit me. And I thought I got to go with positive intention, like not to be on the show or business or anything. Like, I got to go with that light intention, So, and you immediately were like, yes.
Yeah, because I'd already put the Cardi, like, internally requested the assistance. I knew that I needed some additional clearing and healing. I did know it. And and it was probably 24 hours before, I think, that I, in my own mind, and request, to my higher self and Jesus and anybody else who is listening, I think I need some more purging, like, just take all the help you can get. Wow. Especially going through all that. And with knowing that I got the blood test results back, which didn't really show anything, of course, right? And so let's look at what else we can do. So I did. As soon as I saw it, I was like, yes! Thank goodness. I knew I would hear from you. So, yeah, I reached out right away.
You don't know when people offer something. Who are you? What do you want? What is the stuff that you're doing, So I try to explain it as clearly as possible. And it was a great few days of working with you. I guess over about the past week, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, like, I think we probably, I think it was like 4 sessions we really did together. In that, at least 3. Was it 4 though? I'm thinking
3.
At least the 3 solid ones. But we did, I think, another like 20 minutes, half an hour or so at one point too.
We did a short one here at Bryce's place on a Sunday, I think, and I was like,
yeah,
their plan, so it was kind of a short deal. Yeah.
Yeah, but we had 3 really in-depth sessions. One was the Thursday evening after my show with Joel Enlightened Self, after my last Dream Share show, and you waited around for me to finish that, which was great. And then we had our first connection then, which, man, like, once we were into what we were doing, I think we both had a really good understanding of each other's process, because we really kind of receive and process this information very in similar ways. Though I may use tarot cards and you have your own template, really, with the pendulum, really, though, what it is we're seeing and getting this information in a very similar way, and using those tools just as affirmations to what it is that we're getting, the information that we're getting. So it was pretty cool when we started our first session, and what's the biggest problem, right? We went to what's the biggest problem. And of course, with everything, I think you all know, it was, let's go right to what's going on with my right hand, all of this area in the shoulder. And so I know the first story that we went to, and the first life that we went to, previous life, was with my hands bound. So I don't, if you want to add to that, because you're the one that saw that first. So I know that's what I remember, but yeah, that's where it started. So go ahead.
Yeah, let me say, because I do hypnosis, but I also do spiritual response therapy. And what I like about the spiritual response therapy is like it helps faster than hypnotism. And you don't really have to look at those lifetimes if you don't want to. You can literally ask your high self, ask your spirit within, like, I don't want to see any of that, because we're looking at lifetimes that are not fun, because we're healing off trauma and issues. But seemed like you wanted to see it all. And frankly, I didn't know that you do tarot. I didn't know how your intuition was or anything. And I'm clairvoyant, you're clairvoyant. So we were just, all kinds of.
We were literally in the same world. Yeah. We really were. That's the best way. And the connection was just, it was like click, right? And as soon as and I don't know if it's because, well, I know because the practice with hypnosis, and because of, I think, the way I was able to connect in this channeling with you, it was a very meditative state that it put me in. I was very easy for me to really go into that and experience that world with you. So it was pretty unique, because you'd be, you'd say, okay, so the ropes, and I'm like, yeah, and then I see the dirt, and then I see that it's in, I'm gonna, and we were literally going back and forth, adding to the, yes, confirming, yes, this is what I see, yes, and then you're using your tools as well, as doing the healing to affirm and, give numbers and give some very much more specific details, on what we were clearing and working through. And wow, like over the course of all those days, from starting with that problem, it was like tweak, like tweaking and tweaking, and then back and forth, and we'll tweak over here. And really by the end of it, making sure, hey, even, asking my higher self, are we all done? Yeah, we're done. Like, let me know. So, but that was great. If you want to talk about how your experience with that was too, in that process, but
every client, like, I can't lie to them, they feel it. Most of my clients are twin flames, and they're highly intuitive, but every client I have, they feel something. They say, at minimum, they'll say, I feel lighter. I'm like, you're really quiet, you're not saying anything. Like, oh, I feel good. They can start out frantic, like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. And then, like, within 10, 20 minutes, they're like, not saying anything. It's like they're chilled out, they're meditating. I'm like, are you okay? I'm like, oh yeah, I'm feeling more relaxed. And then by the end, at least saying, I feel lighter, I feel better. And
absolutely.
Then,
lighter. I just want to really affirm that. I absolutely, within my being, within myself, the lightness that I have experienced, but also the strength, and really feeling the sovereignty, being able to take that seat, that throne, within myself, with more room to move around in a lot clearer area, and feeling much lighter. So I really have to affirm that was probably one of the biggest, best descriptions I could say, is definitely feeling lighter and taller and straighter. My back, it really has done amazing things, especially for the amount of work I think we did through the sacral areas and the different things that we've endured, Yeah,
because you have a ton of body injuries, and I think most of us who are watching these kind of shows, we've been through lifetime after lifetime. And most people I talk to, when I mention, are you okay with past lives? They're like, yeah, sure. That's why they're coming to me, because they've been here several times. They know, they're aware. And we've experienced a lot of trauma to our bodies. So, and it sounds like physical relief from doing these healings, which is great.
It was really an amazing process, because, being able to be in that meditative state, and be, because by our third or fourth session, or 3.5, whatever it was, like, I was really in the zone. Like, we were knocking through stuff like crazy. And I was able to see, again, like, so much information at one time, so quickly, and a real understanding of what the different situations were, the different scenarios of these past lives, and was able to see it with the detachment, that were allowed in that hypnosis process of healing, and to be able to see it, and really to be able to see some actually very, really terrible things, but be able to recognize them, accept them, release them, transmute them, let them go and heal. Because, I feel sometimes some of this process is these things, part of them just wants to be recognized even. So allowing these things to come up and be able to view them with the detachment that, hypnosis does give us in that time, we can see these things and not have to experience them with the level of pain, but understand the pain that we went through. And I think that pain needs to be recognized. It wants to be seen and then released and healed. And I think that was a really great part of the process, was allowing those parts, those past parts of me that didn't have a voice when they were killed, right? By however they were killed. The amount of tortures through, witch hunting and such, the variety of ways that I was tortured and killed through that process, on both sides, and to be able to see it and understand it and accept it. Right. And it was part that just wanted to be acknowledged and then let go. And then you're so much lighter.
Yeah.
Not carrying those scars in your body, I feel.
Yeah, I think through this system that you've got to ask for help, even if you look from a Christian standpoint. It's supposedly like God says, you have to come to me and ask me. And I think this is a system, this is not a Christian, I'm not saying this is a Christian system, but it's similar. It's like, I think high self, the spirit within you wants to be asked. Like you have to specifically say, what is it, find this specifically, and then have it cleared off. So otherwise it just sits there. Like within you is like, well, all you got to do is ask me, come and look at it. Some of it you need to look at and be aware of, and then let it go. And it's like self-healing. It's a self-healing mechanism. Allow the spirit within you to heal you.
Well, I think, what the point we made just before we came on too is about knowing the right questions to ask.
Yeah, it is a question.
And knowing how you're wording it, the intention behind it, and making sure you're clear with those intentions. And that's where I would love to give, let everyone know, because how specific this process is what was really amazing to me. So I would love for you to give a bit of, kind of description on the material that you're working with, because it's so specific in the different areas and how you find the numbers, to lifetimes and all these amazing things. So whatever information you can give about that, because I'm fascinated by how detail oriented it is.
Yeah, I trained, it's a healing modality. I trained through, Robert Dessler started it. It's called spiritual response therapy, like I said. And he wrote like 5 different books. It started from a hypnotism book, and then a sociologist got a hold of it and his wife, and then took it to Robert Dessler. And then Robert Dessler started using it in his church, a Unity church, I think. But I like that it stemmed from a hypnotism book, because since I'm a hypnotist too, I get it. I see the connection that it taps into your subconscious mind. So you can release programs, you can release dark energies. If someone's possessed by something and it's clearly they're possessed by something, I can clear that off, So it's like you've got to have the skills and the knowledge, I believe, to clear these things off.
And the confidence. And the confidence and surety, because it does. It's your force and confidence and saying, no, you get out, you clear out, and knowing how to get it out.
Yeah, and I forget, I feel like, well, can't everybody do this? I've got a shaman that I work with at Infinity Care. I do some partnership work with, and she's like, Angie, you got to realize not everybody can do this. And she said that to me a few times. I'm like, I don't know. I just went through the training and I do it.
Yeah.
So.
But you know what? I think it really is up to us to believe in what we can do. I think part of that is right. We are all capable of doing these things. But, there is training to what you've done. This is a lot of very specific information. So being informed is having confidence and knowing your abilities. So, but, we are all, I think, or most of us, capable of seeing things and listening to that guidance and hearing it and tuning in, or trying all these different modalities and learning them for ourselves, whatever interests us. But it's setting the intention and believing that you can, which is a process too. For a lot of us, I think, have experienced that process of, is this really going on? What is really going on here with me? And going deeper into the subconscious to really be open to realizing what that all may encompass. And like you'd said to me before, that 80% of this stuff, this like goo that we bring in, I thought was great as well. So if you want to talk about that at all, the past life goo.
The number is about 80%.
Oh, hold on a second. Your microphone's cutting out a little bit. So just start over again a little bit, because we didn't get that one at all.
I think it's about 80% of what we deal with we brought in from other lifetimes, which is terrible to think of, because a lot of my clients, they're around in their 40s or so, plus or minus. And it's like, well, you've already dealt with enough in this lifetime, right? And then to think of, okay, and I brought in things from other lifetimes I have to deal with. But I think a lot of us, that's our point, is to come in here, learn through a lot of things and heal it off. Like, we chose that. We chose to come in here and deal with these things that we're dealing with. But I think we can choose to heal through them, and we can choose to ask our spirit within us to learn in a positive way. We don't have to learn everything through in negative ways. So,
and I think it's awareness. But that's it, to understand that we are loved and supported, and then ask for that help that is there, because we do come in with the odds stacked against us, boy. But in this time that we're in now, in these lives that we're in right now, I think is a huge opportunity for all of us to be working with this and clearing this and coming to this new awareness. It's kind of starting to pop like popcorn. So, more and more people, I think, are going to come to see, through all kinds of synchronicities and things going on in their lives, the cycles, and start to ask bigger questions and become more and more open to what is really going on with us. And is it all just what we see, what we're experiencing now, and what we've carried over, that karma issue, the roles that we've played out, with family members. And that was an interesting experience in our first session. We dealt with family first. We went to that in my relationships with family, and which, are often the closest connections. And it really was, I didn't experience this moment in hypnosis, but I've seen other people have, which is seeing this scenario. We're in this scenario together play out, and somebody who is in my life now as family, to be asked the question, do you recognize this person? And it hit me like whoosh. I knew exactly who. I knew the whole story, and it just kicked. It was like a kick in the gut at first. And I immediately started like bawling. But I think that was the only time that I cried. It was just that one. That was the biggest one.
Yeah.
Right?
It was a big thing. You didn't recognize it. I could have told you. But I'm like waiting. I do it kind of like a hypnotism practice. It's like, I want you to say it. I want you to be aware. And then if you're like, I don't know, I don't know any of this person. Like, really? Is it someone from here? I'm going to like slowly lead you to
blinders, right?
This person. I'm not just going to say it's this person. Like, slowly lead you to water, Yeah.
But, that's where the hypnosis state comes in handy though too, or the meditation state, because you're a lot more likely to just go with what the true answer is, as instead of deflecting when we're still in that ego.
Yeah,
ego point as well.
You're very connected with your high self. And before I get on with a client, even before I got on with you, I was working it's called prep me to work, and then prep you to work. So I'm getting myself in a low ego state of 3% or below and try to get down to 0. And then I'm clearing off any blocks, interferences, which is the dark energies that come in, try to interfere. I'm like, just like, you have no domain here, just go away. And then, whereas some people are like, oh, I'm so scared. I'm like, no, you have no domain, just get out. So I'm prepping myself and I'm prepping you and making sure you don't have any blocks to healing or any resistance to healing. And then I'm working to like lower your ego, clear you out, raise you to a higher vibration mentally and physically, so that it brings you more of a connection to your high self before we even start. So
what I loved in talking about the higher self was getting the clarity on the name like I did. And did you see the description? Like, did you see the Wikipedia on Artemis?
It was really
so many things. It blew me away.
I hit you like hard. My shaman friend did that when I was journeying with her. So I was in that 5D, reality of, very connected to my high self and very relaxed. And we'll do healing off each other. And she's like, what's your soul's name? They're just out of the blue. And I just said it. And I'm like, oh, wow. And she said, yes, confirm that. Because we'll confirm each other too. She said, yes, I confirm that's right. So then we did that where you said your soul's name. You said a part of your high self. And it's like, you just bam, bam. And I was like, and I felt it. When you said your soul's name, I felt it because it vibrated through me. And I'm like, wow, I just got her soul's name. That's cool. And
it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was weird. That was, that was because that was the last session that we had the day before. Was it, we do the morning of or the day before? It was the day before I did. So the Monday, I think, was our last session.
Yeah, it was Monday. Right? I said, I want to check on you. I want to have you as clear as possible before you do.
I was.
So you're going on, it's not really like energies. It's like, I'm really clear today. I'm really clear.
Oh, wow. My energy levels changed entirely. Like I'm getting up earlier I'm just so much lighter. It really is. I am so much lighter. Having those interesting questions answered too. It was neat. That to go into as well with you because you did do that preparation beforehand that you do. So I really feel like you did set the table in essence. All before we even sat down. So it was like we were really ready to go. The table was set and the help was there, and the protection was there. And so we were just able to really get right into it. But the last experience that we had, you recorded as well.
Yeah, I recorded.
And that was really interesting for me because I was deep. You said even my voice changed at that time. Whoa, that's making me woozy now.
Yeah, I recorded all of them, and you went into like a self-hypnotic mode using trigger words, and that was great because you're hypnotized, and I'm doing healing with the spiritual response therapy at the same time. But yeah, your whole voice, your whole demeanor was different during that.
Yeah.
I could tell in many ways.
Oh.
I don't know if you want to share any stories. You talked a little bit about being bound. That was one thing, but anything else? I know there was one where you were a midwife, and I was talking about, I was like, oh, I was there. There was a child, and then you said, oh, I've been a midwife several times.
Which was in the Artemis as well, too. Midwife.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Right? And I said I've been a midwife many, many times. I've even been called to do that, but it's certainly come up even in this life to help with that. But this is the direction I'm in. I didn't end up going that way, but it's certainly something that has come to me several times to even do in this life. So, it was interesting to find out many similarities, a lot of persecution. And we even addressed the organs and my liver, right? We wanted to make sure we were addressing because it was the only thing that came up with some enzymes. And I don't even drink alcohol, so it's nothing to do with that. But that was the only thing when I did get the blood work that there was a high enzyme. So we wanted to make sure that we specifically address the liver because I'm going to be going back and doing those blood tests again too, right?
And improvements in that, because Mary Ellen, my shaman lady I work with, we were talking about that. If we can make a difference with people physically, it would be nice to show that and prove that, through
Yeah.
blood work,
Yeah. Well, I mean, literally, I can really vouch for how I know how much of a difference it has made for me physically. In my shoulders, my joints, I'm not waking up with the pain in my hands, with the swelling or the numbness, and my back. Really, my back is one of the really, really big things, I think, especially the lower back area that has literally been locked up and was already building the signs of arthritis and everything else in there, and it was only getting worse. But we really did a lot of work on that sacral area and understanding the traumas that have happened, and why they may be done, and all kinds of different things to really be able to release that. I physically feel the difference, and I know that you can't, because you're not an actual medical doctor. This is where you can't really say, oh, this is what I can do, to heal each person or whatever. It's a tricky line for you, but I know that I can personally say for me, and especially for anybody that saw me the Tuesday before, when you saw me and reached out, to when I came after we worked together and I came back on, and I think that tells you a lot right there. And I know that really 95% has to do with the work that we did together. I really do believe that. So, it really did help me. So I know you can't say, to everybody, this is, I can,
you can say,
but I can tell you, it physically helped me. And each person is different, but I think that it's our higher self may not want us to release some things just yet, or may want us to, but like you said, you can ask for, well, do we need to learn it so difficultly, this lesson, so painful? Can we learn it a little easier?
Yeah, we can get up in the morning and ask for our lessons.
Yeah. Wow.
And talk to the spirit within us and say, I need to learn this in a positive way. I'm having a hard time with this. I'm ready to let this go. There's certain things we can do, because we deserve to be here and feel love, and we deserve to have our needs and our wants. We deserve to be here on this planet, experiencing it in a positive way.
Yeah. Well, I believe it is our divine birthright as sovereign, infinite beings to be in joy, bliss, abundance, and love at all times. And that is our true state. And that is what we are and what we deserve to be in. And the pain, the suffering, the fear is not part of our normal existence. It is not. And I think something that is being released now. And this is certainly another tool that can help do that, just like the BQHT sessions. I think this was just a fantastic. I'm so grateful for the experience in so many ways. Not only did I find you a great connection, we were talking about working on some ideas together, which was pretty funny. You saw a book, and I'm like, oh yeah, and I started describing the book.
So, I said, well, I've written one book. I don't know why I don't at least put it out there. And then I'm working on one for Twin Flames. And then I'm seeing this one about reincarnation and us actually moving towards being in a Garden of Eden, because people talk about the event and the new earth and everything. And I'm thinking, we're moving towards being in a Garden of Eden. And so I keep seeing this book online that I've written called Re-entering the Garden of Eden, something the Garden of Eden. Mm-hmm. And I'm I see it. And I'm why am I seeing that? Why am I not seeing something I've already written? And then you said to me, you remember what you said? You're
well, first I told you the color of the book.
Yeah. You said, I see red. And I'm oh my gosh, how do you see that? Because we started to just realize we're seeing the same things. And then you said, and I see flowers. And I'm yeah, the Garden of Eden, like entering the Garden of Eden. And then you started cracking up. You said, yeah, I saw the word garden, or I saw
yeah,
garden.
it's a garden. Yeah, I was like, garden. I was waiting for you to say it because I could see garden. But then I said, like, garden of lives, right? What, you know, I was coming to my mind. You said garden, and I said, and yeah, we both had the garden because I could see the style of the flowers on the book. Yeah. I could see, you know, but that's how I see things. And I think that's the amazing thing, that we do have that similar way of seeing those things within us. And yeah, I could see what I saw. I can tell you exactly what I saw first. It was like the inside corner. What I saw was like this corner of the book first. It started off with just the corner of the book, and it was red, right? And then I could see it was like it had sort of not heavy flowers, but light flowers, like, you know, a more light drawing to the flowers. And I saw the garden, but not prolific. It had a little bit of daintiness to it. I don't want to say dainty even, but I could see the design, and I knew it had to do with garden. So, but that was our entire, you know, process every time we've spent together.
Yeah, it was surprising to me. Yeah, the cover I saw was mostly the words were big in the middle, and around the outside were just little flowers. So
yes.
Almost like not even really noticing the flowers. Like, oh yeah, there's flowers along the outside. But
yeah, just the lines, like as a light bordering almost, you know, very not prevalent, not, you know, just this light detailing of it. That was great. And I mean, but that's the same, that's just like when we started, you know, we started with the bound hands, and it was like, it's kind of really is that same process of walking through, if you've gone through the BQHT and walking through the past lives, you know, it really is. You know, you said that my hands were bound and I was being dragged. And so I'm looking and I'm seeing my hands, and then I look down, I see the dirt on the road, I see where the rope goes to, you know, and I'm just following through the details. And I saw it was a wood wagon, and the whole process was really just back and forth from there. And at one point I think with our first session, I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I keep interrupting you, right? Because I kept throwing these things in.
It was just surprising me of someone, because I know I've had a couple people who I'll be describing a life and they're like, oh yeah, I'm seeing it, because they'll be really quiet. I'm like, are you okay? And they're like, yeah, I'm seeing it. But they're not adding to it. Like you and I were just back and forth. Like I said, I see your hands are tied, and you're like, yeah, I see the ropes. And I'm like, that was the first time I'm like, wow, she's seeing everything. And then I said, I see dirt. And you're like, yeah, I see dirt. And I see a wagon. I'm like, whoa, this is interesting. We're both there together.
We were there. We really were, because when we were going through different lives, even that we had shared together, because obviously when we made this connection, you know, we did make a point in one of the times we spent together to look, wow, what else have we been doing together? Yeah. Because we obviously clicked, right? So that was interesting, because we went through a few lives that we shared together, and it was very much like I was seeing you were in there with me, you know, in those moments. It was really interesting experience.
The point where you said, I'm sorry, am I interfering with you? I got really quiet, because we're like this on, you know, you were on Skype or something, we're seeing each other. You said, am I interfering you? I got really quiet, because I was in that life. I was like looking around. So I was looking over here to the side, and I tell clients, if I'm looking to the side or I'm looking in front of me, it's pouring out in front of me. It may be like not even in my head. It may be like an overlay of this dimension where I see part of it here, but then I see the wall behind it. Yep. But I was looking at the life where you and I felt like maybe we were brothers, but we weren't. We were just close friends. And I was feeling that relationship, because I'm clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient. And I love, as crazy as it seems, you would think you love the clairaudient, seeing it, but I love the clairsentience. I love feeling it. And I was just feeling that connection. I'm feeling it now talking about it. My whole body was vibrating.
That was the best one. That was the best one. Because it started with, you said we died in an explosion together. Right. And then I was like, yes, it was a factory. It was like one of those old factories when things were not very safe. You know, I saw molten metal, right? And I saw that we literally worked side by side. I saw our, very strong hands. These were strong men back then, right? I saw us walking back and forth to work together because we were practically neighbors, and our lunch boxes like almost matched, walking to work together.
It's funny you say lunch boxes, because I don't think we talked about that. And I thought about that afterwards. I thought of us carrying our lunch to work.
Lunch boxes. Yeah, like our wives packed. I knew our wives packed our lunch boxes. Yeah. We left for work together. Close. We took care of each other. We'd go for a pint after work sometimes, and it would piss our wives off because dinner was left waiting on the table. And sometimes we would stay for that one extra pint, come home a little tipsy, and they'd give us shit. Like, there's so much information that just comes in. It just comes in. You just know right away. You know the story. And but to feel the bond, to feel the relationship, to feel the energy.
It was good. It felt really good. So when you're like, I'm sorry, I'm not interrupting, I was like, no, I'm just feeling it. Like, I was feeling that connection, that closeness, that close friend bond. I'm like, now I'm just feeling it. Kind of like, just give me a minute. Because it feels good when you feel that connection with someone,
Oh, yeah. That was like, like they, in their mind, they were brothers, like in our, in that life. It was very strong friendship.
We were getting that we had grown up together, and I was feeling a little jealousy from our wives. But can you come home?
Yeah.
Because I could see my wife's face, and sometimes things are fuzzy, and sometimes the visions are kind of like distorted. And sometimes I'll just get a symbol of an odd, vision, but I could see her face very clear. And then I identified, I know her in this lifetime too. So I was like, oh, this is cool, because I didn't connect that at first. But I'm looking at her, and she looks mad at me, like, really, can't you come home? Can't you help more with the kids and at home? And I felt like you and I had a very light personality. Like, we were happy. We were hardworking, but we were happy. But my wife was just like, this is a tough life.
Because but he worked hard too, though. It was tough for moms back then, like it was, that would be exhausting. Can you imagine back then, like everything? Oh, yeah. I couldn't. That must have been exhausting. But it was for that type of man too. That was a very physical, laborious job as well. And not safe.
But I felt a happiness in my personality, like a
simple life,
like a lighter life. And this life has been like hard childhood. Hard getting to where I'm been doing this work for about 4 years. I'm like, wow, I love my work. I'm on mission. It's not work. You're on your mission when you're like, this is not work. This is great. But that life, it was like a tough life, but I was happy. I can feel that happiness, that lightness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you know what? That's a good point to make too, that it wasn't like we were only going through the lives that were traumatic.
Right. There was something, right? I guess it was the trauma of the explosion. I can't remember what all was cleared off, but maybe it was that trauma.
Yeah. And I think how we felt both having, like, I think that we had always counted on one or the other. If something happened to one of us, then we knew that the other one would take care of our family. But that because we both died in it, we didn't expect that. And that, both of us leaving the families behind was part of that. That's how I kind of saw it. Because we always thought, well, one of us went, then the other would be there to take care, right?
Yeah, I can feel that. But imagine if one of us would have been left living, there would have been a lot of, sadness.
Guilt.
Like if I was left living, there would have been guilt. Yeah, that was the word I was looking for. And then, like, if I was left living and you passed away, your wife would be like, well, why didn't you die?
Yeah.
Even if you don't say it, you've got to subconsciously feel like, wow, this is tough.
Well, I couldn't have been. Yeah. It's a no-win situation, really. But it was a good, simple life, though, even though, right? And I don't think we weren't too young either, like early 40s.
I had
late 30s, early 40s.
I had a few kids, and I don't want to look at like how many and what happened, because there's probably some trauma there too, because it was such a tough life, Kids after we probably grew up with something, difficult. But I had 3 or 4 kids. So there must have been a little age there, but I picture my wife, she was pretty young. I think was just like from parents to marriage, like people did back then, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah. And there was no, like, you're knocked up.
Yeah.
You're just,
Yeah.
yeah.
You usually wait until marriage, I guess, and all that, or if you did. But yeah, we could have been a little older than our wives, but yeah, for the women, especially,
Yeah.
parent to marriage. So I feel bad for her now, but oh well. That was the choice.
Yeah.
that we made.
Was, yeah. And I do want to make sure, so how you come up with like how many lives, like with I'm sure people are curious about that, because I shared on Gene's show, that we had 379 lives together, but there's a process that you actually did, which I found was interesting, which is different than what we're talking about as far as us sharing this channeling experience, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, let me say, like, the easiest way, like if you just went and took a class and you feel like, oh, I have no intuition, which you probably do, you probably just have blocks, you can just use a chart and like use a pendulum. And then you may even have blocks to using a pendulum, which you can clear that off too. You could have blocks to using spiritual response therapy. You can clear off so many things. But even if you feel like I have no intuition, you can use a chart, number chart, and you can ask first how many digit number. Like, is it a 3-digit, 2-digit number? And then just use the chart to figure it out. But for me, a lot of times numbers just come in my head and I'll just confirm it with the pendulum.
Yeah.
Or I may get one number in my head, or I know which end of the chart to go to because I kind of get a number, or I may know the next number, So,
which is so funny. It's so similar to what I do with the tarot. And that, even though it's completely different modalities, it really is the same thing. Like, I'll get the number, but I'll see that number then played up many times, in front of me. So, and then it confirms it. But it's really interesting that the results and the process that we do is the same, even though they're completely different things.
Yeah, because we're using our intuition. And then even if you wanted to take the classes and you said, I don't have any idea how any of this works, you could take the classes and just go by the charts. But I have a lot of things, use the pendulum and the charts, but I have a lot of things that just come to me. They're fed to me from my high self. And I may not need the pendulum to confirm because I'm gonna ask, something's gonna come to me and I'm gonna always confirm because I want to have accurate. So it'll come to me. And then I still confirm because I get a vibration through my crown or through my body, or I see my high self in my head shaking their head yes, or I see like your high self be shaking head yes, maybe giving me a look like
yeah, I get the same thing. That's the funny part. I'm like, yeah. That was interesting. It was interesting to be so connected into the higher self, especially by the last session that we had. It was pretty amazing. It was like I was seeing everything so quickly. That was brilliant. But to that much clarity. It's even still, the numbers surprised me. Even, to hear that many, that still surprised me. I've always wondered, how many, but it was still staggering to me. That many times, like how many times we may have actually done this,
Yeah.
So.
And we come together, like when I come together with clients, it seems like a lot of the clients I've had lifetimes with them before. So that's why we were seeing that. We were being shown that to be shown our connection, So, and then shown some things maybe for you to heal off. And there could have been some stuff for me to look at and deal with too. So.
Yeah, I think, well, especially when we did the work, between the lives that we did share as well. And, find those too. So yeah, we covered it all. So. Yeah. But I'm just so glad you're my friend now too, because you've really opened up my eyes to like how quickly we can process through this stuff, just by asking the right questions and implanting the right intentions. We can really clear out and then set our own stage, literally, through intention.
Yeah, I think it's a thing of taking our power back, healing this stuff off and taking our power back and deciding this is my life. I'm going to create my reality here. I'm taking control. None of this stuff that we have, like cords, ties, links, programs, dark energies, none of it has control over me. I'm taking my life here.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? It really did help bring that in for me as well, with bringing in the name. When you got it out of me like that so quickly, I wasn't expecting it, and it was boom. And then to go and have that clarification, I can feel that. I felt that energy before I even looked it up. It's amazing to have that kind of confirmation, but I really have felt that come in. And I have to say thank you so, so much for that, because I really am starting to experience my sovereignty in every moment of my now, and having that strength and infinite sense of my abilities and the malleability of my environment, which we're going to play with as well some more. So I think we might be working on a few other things together that we might come back and talk about maybe in a few weeks to see how that progresses. So
maybe putting together lifetimes we've been in together in the book. We'll be like, there's two people like saying, confirming these lifetimes happened and what happened.
Yeah. I think it's good for people to see that we go through many archetypes. We go through many like personas, and we really do play all of these roles. And this is part of being okay with all these parts of us, and understanding that there may be parts of our lives that we have been, on the other side, and we have flipped those roles, and accepting it, facing it, healing it, transmuting it, releasing it, and really becoming okay with who you are in all of your aspects, acknowledging and facing all of those aspects and healing them into the strength of what you really are, in your authenticity is the beautiful thing I think I really experienced with you, Angie. I really did. So
yeah, I definitely agree. I think it helps us to forgive other people by realizing, okay, maybe I had a past lifetime where I was a dark witch. I know I have, or I've played this dark role against someone, even maybe someone in my life who's here now where I've played a dark role against them. And it helps us to be not so critical and so judgmental of people who have hurt us in this lifetime, and be forgiving. Because I think if we can forgive others and forgive ourselves and just feel love for everyone, we can be pretty much done.
Yeah. And, I think it's interesting because I think Sherry's here as well, because in between working with you as well too, I talked with Sherry, and I had a moment where I said to her, and it really was that higher self, I think, coming through with an activation for her. It was, I am that I am. And for me, I see that statement, I am that I am, is us looking and seeing everything that is around us and recognizing and saying, I am that. I am that I am. And that really is part of the process of going through all these different aspects of all these different lives and seeing that I have been the hag and the hero, right? I have been the leader and the follower. I have been the depraved and the deprived. Right. And seeing all those aspects and becoming okay with understanding this is the oneness of who you are, and bringing all of that into the light, all of it in open recognition, and bringing into the light allows us to transmute it and really experience that oneness within ourselves. And that leads to the compassion that is needed and that is talked about, in how we can look around us and see these, see other people, or see these situations with a more compassionate eye, because it really is. I am that I am. It's what is all around me. It is within me. It is a reflection. So, and the more you can accept that without being triggered, the more healing you're getting done and working towards that oneness of everything you are in your infinite self.
Right. Yeah, it's about becoming one with everything and everyone. Just loving everything, forgiving everything, loving yourself, forgiving everything within yourself. I feel it. It's a great feeling to have that.
Yeah, and to know that we are forgiven. that we forgive us. You know, God forgives us. He actually never blamed us in the first place. This is part of the process.
He doesn't have any ego.
So it's the ego that beats us up. So, you know, and this is part of it. So, and, you know, release the judgment on others, because there's all different stages of this process. And we see that example all around us. And it's good to recognize it and let that person go through their stages at their place. They'll clear it when they're ready to clear it, right?
Yeah, it's nice when we can be in a state of someone we love or care about is all mad at us, or they're having a bad day, and we can just disconnect, and we don't have to let our egos become part of it. And just like, this is you inside of you. It doesn't have to affect you. I
think the trigger is a great sign to recognize the ego. So I just wanted to say the trigger is like, that's your ego right there. The trigger is your ego. So,
just tell it to lower yourself down. Just relax, let it go. Don't be affected by their whatever. No.
Yeah, you know what? I do want to just add to be lighter, but to be so grounded.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And, you know, I think even if you look at the difference between that week from when I was where I was at, and then to work with you and see that a week later, there's definitely a calmness. You know, there's I really able to sit back and breathe and take my time processing things. I'm not so, rushing. You know, it's grounded me more, but left me lighter. It really has. There's not an urgency with, everything.
Yeah, and you don't have to connect more to your intuition, connect more to spirit. You don't have to be up here. You can pull it down in you. You want to pull your high self down into you here and stay grounded. We have to stay grounded down here to function in this world. And I was having a problem for a while where I'm like, I just want to be up there. I just want to be meditating, be hypnotized, and be like in that state that you're in, that natural state of hypnotism right before you go to sleep, right when you wake up. Just to let people know if you haven't been hypnotized before. And it's like, I just want to be in that state all the time of being at least lightly hypnotized. Well, then I wasn't here functioning in this world. So I have to like watch what I'm doing and be pulling my high self in here with me right now, be awake and aware right here in this world so I can function in this world, in this reality.
Yeah. And that's, you know what? And I made that mistake before too. And I think, so over 2 years ago, because I was pushing those boundaries out, but I didn't know about, I wasn't grounded. And it literally did, I think it cracked because I had to be grounded. So it took me right back to basics in building the foundation. And that's when I had to learn how to meditate and learn how to ground and then work that way back up, right, into being secure. Now I can reach up. Now I can reach up and pull that in, because I have the foundation to be able to bring that energy in, right? So it's part of the process for sure, because I want it out of here. like ASAP. When's my spaceship arriving? Like, I gotta go.
I know, yeah. We're like, this is tough. I didn't know I really signed up for this. But
yeah. Yeah, that's in the week before. That's what I was saying. I'm like, if I have to do this, at least let me do it. I'm like, don't leave me stuck in the muck down here.
I was just talking to the same, in a session together. She called me right after. We've been in a session with the client, and then we cut off the client, and then she called me. And she said, yeah, you can't get out of this life. You agreed to be here. You have this shaman energy from other lifetimes, and you have these Munakai shaman protections. You're not going to die. And I'm like, I know. I tried to drown when I was young.
Didn't work.
Yeah, I've been robbed at gunpoint twice. I didn't die. I've been very, very sick twice. Didn't die. I'm like, I'm trying to leave this place. She's like, leave.
And I've been trying to get out through dreams, right? That was my thing.
Yeah,
I'm like, get me out of here. I'm like, what do you mean I got to come back and wake up in the morning? No, pull the pillow back over my head.
So we may as well heal ourselves and just enjoy being in this reality. Realize we create the reality around us, you know. Tell ourselves, hey, I'm here. I have domain here. I'm going to create a good life. I'm going to learn my lessons through positive ways. And that's it.
Yeah, and I have really felt that resurgence of joy in even just waking up in the morning. The difference between waking up and not wanting to get up,
Right.
and wanting to just stay and maybe sleep and dream more because I like it better there, between actually opening my eyes and feeling that lightness and feeling that joy. Like, what am I going to do today? What am I going to do today? You know, and that, I'm really experiencing that. I'm really, really experiencing that now. And it's making a great difference in the whole house. Even with Jess, I feel like Jess is picking up on that energy now too. You know, the happiness seems to be contagious, and I have so much more energy.
Yeah, people around you can pick up on it, and your house can hold negative energies too. Your house can hold negative entities and negative energies. So you're spreading love throughout your house and throughout with your daughter. So
yeah, got that big bubble going on all the time. So it's good to be aware of that.
You can wake up and say, okay, I'm living in joy and love, even if maybe you don't quite feel it, some people, but you can just wake up and say it to yourself. Yeah,
fake it till you make it.
I started by having that kind of stuff in my phone, because I would be like you. I would be like, man, it feels so good. I'm dreaming. I know I'm traveling somewhere in my dreams, and I know I'm in a better place because I wake up feeling so wonderful. But then I'm like here. And my shaman friend said, is it like a thump? And I'm like, yeah, it's like she's like, yeah, you've been journeying and healing and doing bigger and better things, what seems like, but it's like, no, now I'm in this reality. So I had to like put it in my phone, things like, I love myself, I'm powerful. I had to like look at it and like, okay, I feel a little better.
But the affirmations work. Yeah. The affirmations do work. And there's lots of ways to do it, you know, and there's, you know, hypnosis is a great way too, but there's great things that you can listen to with great affirmations, because we hear it. Even if you fall asleep with it on, your subconscious is still taking in that affirmation and that information. So it is still working. It is still doing its thing. So it's great. This is a tough job. Make it as easy on yourself and get as much help as you can doing it.
Yeah, reprogram your thoughts, because we can reprogram our thoughts. We can, you know, do the affirmations or visualize what we want in our life to bring it into our reality. There's a lot of things we can do to create a better reality. So
yeah, perfect. Well, we're coming up to 4:30, so you do have a session appointment. I want to make sure that you've got plenty of time to, but I think we wanted to mention a fantastic idea that you're willing to do about opportunity for a free session, right? So,
so we could put my email in the comments and or in your little section.
Yep. So I'm going to put the email down below, and for 48 hours, Angie's going to take in emails requesting a session, and then I think you're just going to do a draw for a free session out of the emails that receive within the first 48 hours, and then you'll be able to contact that person back. And I can't encourage it enough, because it was just an amazing experience, and you really have worked wonders and made this. I'm excited now. Like, I'm excited again about the work that I'm here to do. That's the big thing. I am excited about the work. As the week before, I was like, if I have to do this, right?
You're wanting to get out. You're wanting to drown like me.
Yeah, I was like, gosh, you know what? If I got to roll around in the mud, you know. But now I don't feel like that anymore. I feel like now it is all coming in, and all these activations are coming in, and all the abilities and all the remembrances are all coming in, and every day is just becoming stronger and more powerful than the one before. So yeah, I can't suggest it enough. So I'm going to leave the email for Angie below, and make sure you send her a message, and then we'll get back to the lucky winner of the free session. And I can't wait to hear about that too. And I think that's it for today. Not sure about, I don't think I'm going to be doing a live tomorrow, but I will be here, of course, on Sunday for my wacky Sunday show. So Lighten Up Live, Lighten Up Light Workers Live on Sunday from 8 till 10 Eastern Standard Time. So Jess and I have got some fun things that we're going to be doing. So I hope you guys can join us for that. And otherwise, I think that's it for today. So thanks, everybody, for stopping in, and I hope you enjoyed it. And, of course, my email is below as well. So if you want to book a session with me, you can certainly do that as well, and I would love to hear from you. Also taking in anybody who wants to do Dream Share Thursday. So if you want to share any of your experiences from dreams with me, where we do that on Thursday evenings. So send me an email for that as well. And thank you so much, Andy. I love you. I love you. I'm so grateful for everything. And she'll be back on anyways, right? So
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sure. Bye.
Yeah, you will. Thanks so much. All right. Bye, everybody.